a really cool conversation today with Dr. Alice Mina. She's got the alphabet after her name. Go look it up. She is a Harvard-trained, double-board certified dermatologist and dermatologic surgeon. She's the co-owner of Balcom and Mina Derm Surgery in Atlanta and the host of The Skin Reel, a globally ranked podcast that breaks down skincare myths and helps people make smarter, thoughtful decisions, science-based. She uses a science-based approach to health, aging, and the aesthetic medicine. And through her podcast, educational content, and patient care, she empowers people to simplify skincare, cut through the misinformation, and feel confident in their skin at every age. She is great fun to speak with and to learn from. And I hope that you feel like you learned a lot in this upcoming few minutes. It's a great conversation, and we're happy to have you join us.
Welcome to my realm. I'm Tami Jorden, and this is Butterfly Days, the podcast that proves you're not past your prime. You're living in it right now, because women don't have expiration dates. Butterfly Days is a celebration of the extraordinary potential of Gen X and Boomer women. Throughout history, women have shared wisdom to uplift and empower one another. And you're about to learn hard-earned wisdom and best-kept secrets from interesting, inspiring women. So if you're ready to embrace your butterfly season with confidence, find joy in the present, and create a legacy that matters, you're in the right place. No more holding back. Let's spread our wings now. Here we go.
Welcome to my realm. This is Tami Jorden, and you're listening to Butterfly Days. You are in Atlanta, and you have a studio, a practice there, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Actually, I have two practices.
Wow. And they're both in Atlanta?
Yeah, one. So I have a practice. I joined my partner right out of fellowship, Balcom and Mina Derm Surgery, where we do a lot of Mohs surgery, skin cancer surgery. I joke we're Dr. Pimple Popper ATL because we do a lot of cysts, lipomas, and big surgical procedures, as well as cosmetics. A lot of skin cancer, and it's an insurance-based practice. We're really busy. I have a great team. But as I am getting older myself, and as I've been delving more into my podcast and sort of thinking about healthy skin sort of for the long term and things I need to do, I found a lot of people just had a lot of questions, and our current healthcare system doesn't really allow for people to sit with me and have lengthy conversations and talk about preventative skincare and holistic skincare and things like that. And I wanted to create a space where people could do that, where they're not just coming to see me because they need something cut out or injected.
Yeah.
And so I created sort of it's like an offshoot of my podcast. It's the Skin Reel Serenbe. It's in a wellness community south of Atlanta, about 45 minutes south. And it's kind of my place to breathe and to really spend time with my patients. I don't do any surgery out there, but really want to help people come up with a plan and a strategy, because I feel like a lot of times now people will tell me, like, I go here for this, I go there for that. Oh, I tried this because my friend did it, and I say we're on this hot girl hamster wheel. We're so terrified of what's going to happen to us if we give up any of these procedures and services and self-care that we're doing, that we're running ourselves amok and we're driving ourselves crazy. And we don't really know what's working and what's not. We're spending a lot of time, a lot of money, and we're not even getting the results we want. And so I'm hoping that by creating a place where you can actually come and see me and spend half an hour, 45 minutes talking with me, coming up with a plan, that we can get beyond just these like quick fixes and these sort of gimmicky things that are out there and really have transformative skin.
Yeah, I love that. And I really am supportive of the getting off the hot girl hamster wheel, because, I dropped a podcast recently that was talking about how GenJones, which is 1955 to 65, and then Gen X, which is 65 to 80, born during those ages. They're not that old. That we were the first generation of girls who were told we could be anything we wanted to be. Prior to that, it was not said to women that it was even a possibility. And not that it actually was available. I think a lot of our experience is that it wasn't yet available. But we were the first generation of girls who were told that, and advertising kind of was starting to take over in a way in society it had not been before. And it was, okay, you can do what you want, but you better look good doing it. You must look young. You must be pretty. You know, all of the things. And that sort of dovetailed together for these women, all of us, to put a whole lot of pressure on, you know, what we look like, and that we have to plot a path forward, and that, my God, that you should age, the worst sin of all for a woman, right?
Like the worst insult is like, you look old, right? Like,
yes. Or even, I have to tell you, at my age, I'm starting to get, you look great for your age. And I'm like, I'm not sure that that's the compliment you're thinking. And what age do you think I look? You know, that. So I think we're playing with a lot of social baggage on this, certainly. But what are you hearing? What are you hearing from the women that you see? I mean, what's the commonalities there?
Yeah, I think in general, and I was born in 1980, so I feel like I'm on this weird cusp where I don't really feel like I'm Gen X, because by the time I got out of my medical training, I felt like I was joining the workforce with more of the millennials, but I definitely grew up without, you know, I had internet, I guess, in high school, right? So I definitely remember a childhood without the internet, without cell phones, things like that.
Yeah.
So I'm 45, and I feel like around 40, I'm starting to get questions from my friends and patients, thinking like, okay, wait a minute. And me personally too, 40 was the pandemic. And I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, I wasn't where I thought I would be. And I sort of felt like, okay, I'm at like a mid-mark in my life, right? Hopefully. And where, you know, I was kind of like burning the candles at both ends. I wasn't taking care of myself. I was starting a career, starting a family. And like, I put myself last, and I had gained 10 pounds. And I was like, you know what? I don't like, you know, where I'm going. I felt like I could kind of fake it until about 40. And then you can't really fake those bad habits anymore. You can't run away from them. And started like, all of a sudden, I'd never noticed my neck before. All of a sudden I'm like, oh, like that looks different, right? Like I never, or my kids will like grab my arm and they'll be like, oh, it's so wrinkly. I'm like, okay, that never had that before, right?
So yeah, you're all fired actually, as my kids.
Right. They've actually done studies showing there's sort of like two pivotal periods where we age, men and women, which I thought was interesting. I thought women, it would be a little bit later, but it's around 44. And then it's around your early 60s that these are kind of pivotal periods where we can see dramatic changes. And I sort of thought for women, it might be older with menopause and everything. But I do find we're talking more about midlife, and like there's so many women now, like we're aging. There's this whole focus on not just like living longer, but aging well. And it always cracks me up to think about the Golden Girls back in the 90s were in their early 50s, right?
It's nuts. And we thought they were elderly. Yeah.
Right. Well, so now look at, 50s now. I think a lot of people would say, gosh, like, I mean, I'm doing all these things. I'm not living in a 55 plus community, right? So I think our concept of aging has changed. But what I feel people, and I'm going to say women mostly, is that we're afraid of becoming invisible. I feel like that's sort of the fear we have, that we hit middle age. We used to maybe be known. We used to maybe have our looks to get by on or whatever. And then all of a sudden that's gone. Or
a certain amount of social capital.
Right. And so I think a big fear is I'm going to become invisible. I'm going to become kind of irrelevant in my work, in my family, right? Like maybe your kids are going off to school and maybe you were a stay-at-home parent and now you feel like, well, now I don't even have that. Like, who am I? So I think it's this sense of not just with our looks, but kind of with everything of becoming invisible, that society's going to think we're no longer reproductive. We're just going to be like put out to pasture. We're no longer valuable. But I get this sense of like, I don't want to be invisible. And I feel it too. Like, I don't want to be invisible. Like, I feel like I'm just getting started, right?
You are, by the way. I can tell you from here.
Yeah. So I think that's a big fear. And so then we start doing all these, especially a lot of times external things. I think because of how we look is so visible, and we feel like that's easier to change than feeling invisible because your kids left school or left for school and you're home alone, right? Like, so we sort of focus on these things we think we can fix, maybe materialistically or with a procedure or whatever. And really the root of it, I've seen so many people, and they're objectively, not subjectively, objectively gorgeous, and they don't see it, right? Because yes, there's stuff we can do on the outside, and yes, I love to make people feel good so that they look in the mirror and they love what they see, but so much of it comes internally first, right? And it's not something you can just buy.
No. And in the South, we say, do you see how she's behaving? That doesn't look pretty, does it? That's ugly. Don't act ugly. But it's a reference to, that beauty is only skin deep. And, you could make someone look probably super amazing, but if they act horridly, what's the real net effect there? Probably not so much. Right. But that said, one of the things that's, sort of nice about this part of modernity is that we do have options on things that can slow down or reverse or, mitigate, soften some of the effects of what it looks like to age. And I do get some women who are opposed to anything at all. They might use face creams or whatever, but beyond that, they believe you need to be au naturel. And I think that's great if that's the right thing for you. But probably the rest of us fall between what could I do to tweak or to improve, enhance, and the full Monty,
right, like Kris Jenner,
whole deal.
Martha Stewart, Hey, you're absolutely right. Like my mom, I give this example. I would do any procedure for her, give her anything she wanted.
Yeah,
not interested. She's in her 70s, of
course,
and she's like she uses moisturizer and she uses sunscreen, and she's gorgeous and she has beautiful skin, and so. It's not like she's like morally against it. It's just like, that's just not her jam.
Not her thing.
Vibe, not her thing. Versus, other people are like, oh, I literally want everything out there. But I think most
Kris Jenner.
Right. Most people fall in that gray area in between. Right. And I also tell people, like, you're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to say at 30, oh, I'm never going to do this or that, and that's your prerogative. And don't beat yourself up if you turn 40 or 50 and you're like, you know what, I may want to do, something.
Something,
I had a lady who was really bothered by her under eye bags, and she really is au naturel in so many ways. That's really the only thing that bothered her. And I remember talking to her, like, she almost felt like she was cheating, or she's caving if she did this procedure, because it's a cosmetic aesthetic procedure. But trying to talk to her like, this is beyond that, right? Like, it's giving you back your confidence. So I think sometimes we have shame about changing things too. Like, what's okay to do, what's not okay to do. And it's such a personal thing. And a lot of times people say, well, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? I say, well, really, you need to think about what your skin needs are. So what are your needs? Is your skin dry? Are you struggling with acne, rosacea? Are you going through menopause and you're having collagen loss? Like, what are your skin needs? And then what are your goals? And that's how you form your habits. And your goals are going to be different from my goals. And my goals at 45 are going to be different from my goals at 55, most likely, right?
Yeah.
And so that's how you
Love
pair
that.
it together. And you have to make it align with what you want. I think a lot of times we just kind of do stuff because our friends are doing it or celebrities are doing it. And you don't really know why you're doing it. And so that's sort of the first step, is figuring out, well, what does my skin need? Because, I have
Right.
oily skin. So my skin's different from someone who's very sensitive. And then what
Right.
are
Right.
your goals?
I love that. And I really want to encourage anybody listening to this. We are all about, and I know Dr. Mina is in alignment with this, we are all about in removing shame about how you want to age or what you want to look like. I have had Botox for, I don't know, over a decade. And for me, that's been the right thing. I hated those 11s. They bother me to no end. Too bad if you don't like it. It's my face. In the end, your body is the one thing that you should have total autonomy over. Whether, I'm a death doula, so I'm always saying, you get to say what happens with your body all the way until you give it back. So for me, that same principle is at play here when I think about, how you want to do your skin or how you want to look or whatever. I would just hope that people wouldn't get caught in this, at this point, we're old enough to think about it and know beyond. You can't gear how you judge the external by what everybody else thinks, or you're on a really slippery slope. To know what's right for you, to know your correct skincare and also, what you're comfortable with or what ends you want, that's power. I mean, that's what I hear you saying is you're looking to give women back their power at this point,
Yeah. And however that looks for them, right? So I have sort of like I call it my real skin framework. And one of the, A is for alignment and making sure it aligns with you, right? And not someone else or not society. Because again, like I can do a lot of procedures and treatments on you, right? And there's a lot of, you can have all the facelifts in the world and all that. You're never going to get the results if it's really not in alignment with what you want. And I also love the idea. I think for a while, the last like 10 years, everyone started to look the same. It was almost like this very generic, kind of ageless, but I wouldn't say timeless. Yes. Very tight.
I wouldn't say timeless.
Yeah. And it was very bizarre, very bizarre.
Yeah.
And I'm hopeful. And I feel like the pendulum is swinging back to like people looking more authentic, like themselves. Right. But again, wanting to be the best version of yourself. Right. And, however that looks for you, like you said, you hated those lines, the 11s. Right. And I get that because I actually see so many women come in later in life for Botox for that because they're tired of people saying, why are you angry?
Are you mad? Yeah.
Yes. They're tired of people thinking they're angry and mad when they're happy, when they feel good. And that's really disheartening, right? To think people think you're angry and mean when, so I do see that a lot. And I think until you've kind of gotten older too, and you started seeing those lines come in, maybe you have a different feeling, but
you may have a different.
Right. I can see why someone would be like, yeah, I don't, or sometimes people ask me, well, where should I get Botox? And I usually say, well, it's common in between the eyebrows because those are kind of an angry expression, but the lines around your eyes, those are smile lines. Those are happy lines, right? So a lot of times people want to keep those because again, those are, that happens when you're smiling and you're happy. So again, I think seeing someone too, who actually understands skin health, who's, I know there are lots of injectors out there and people who who did a weekend course and they're like, how hard can it be to actually inject and all that? And yes, it's true. Like maybe actually pushing the syringe and needle into your skin is not hard, but again, I think you'll get better results if you have someone who's kind of looking at it in a more holistic way and not just, paint by numbers, inject here, for a very generic look. And that's kind of the woman I'm really trying to serve, is someone who's looking for more, not just cookie cutter, not just generic, wants their inner beauty to come through. And that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean stamping out every sign that you're getting older, right? And a lot of times I have to tell my patients, like, our goal isn't to remove every line on your face because that would look weird. That would look so bizarre. And
it does look
beautiful.
weird. Like that is something that I think we're slowly getting to. And I do worry that some of the super expensive facelifts right now that are in the media are leading women to think, oh, if I could just get there, then my whole life would be great. Because that's not what makes a great life, is the number of lines on your face. And not that you're implying otherwise. But I do worry a little bit that some of the splashiness of social media is encouraging that. And I like far better what you are saying, which is, let's figure out, this is what I hear you saying, let's figure out the best version of you that lines up with who you are, with your lifestyle, and is realistic.
Right.
With, like, you mentioned skincare. What, for those of us who are like, okay, well, actually, I will tell you, I'm 61. I have to think about it now. I'm 61, and, I'm always trying to find the right skincare direction and stuff. So I know I would be interested. So I feel like there are a lot of ladies on this call that would love to hear what a dermatologist would say is a good basic skincare regime.
Yeah. So it's actually really simple, and people don't believe me. And they're like, you have to be doing more. I'm like, I'm not. But again, everyone's needs are different. But I would say the three main things, a gentle cleanser. And I use Dove Beauty Bar. I mean, people don't believe it. I've tried a lot of different ones, but I just keep going back to it because it's simple, it's easy, it's gentle on the skin. You please don't spend a lot of money on your cleanser, basically. So gentle cleanser. We are not, this is not the 80s and 90s when we're trying to strip our skin
Double
of
strip
every oil and all that, like with. I don't love toners because a lot of times they're very harsh, and the cleansers nowadays are much more balanced for our skin. So gentle cleanser in the morning. I don't even wash my face. I just splash water on it. If you have very sensitive skin or wintertime, that's totally fine too. And then really a moisturizer, especially for kind of middle age up, and then sunscreen. I mean, those are like your three basics. And for a lot of people, especially if you don't have very dry skin, your sunscreen can be like your moisturizer. So that's for like a truly basic, that's my mom's regimen, right? Like super simple, no frills. And if you just did that for your whole life, plus take care of your body, exercise, not smoke.
Try to eat right. Yeah.
You're already ahead of the game, right? So I'm a little extra. So I use a retinol or retinoid at night. I use the prescription strength, but I know that as I've even noticed myself, as I'm getting more middle age, that my skin is more sensitive and can't handle using it every night. So I don't usually use it every night, but there are so many great over-the-counter retinols. They tend to be a little pricier, which is why I love the prescription one because I think it's a great bang for your buck. But if you can't use it because it's irritating, then it's no good. And so then I would say, look at getting a retinol that's over the counter, from drugstore brands like Rock, I think CeraVe, La Roche-Posay, they all make some. And then if you want something, maybe a little fancier, things like Hydrinity makes a great one. Martha Stewart's skincare line Elm has a really nice retinol, and they've even done side-to-side studies. I think it's about to come out where they show that it's actually as effective as using a low-dose prescription. So I would do that at night. If, and if you have sensitive skin, use more the over-the-counter, don't use the prescription. And then it's some sort of antioxidant. So a lot of people have heard of vitamin C. That's a wonderful antioxidant. But there are also some other kinds. And a lot of times these vitamin C serums or antioxidant serums have other vitamins in it that can help. So using that in the morning is really helpful. I'm actually using one that's from Exosomes. It's from Plated. I love this company. I'm not sponsored by them, but I love they actually have like real research behind it. So again, I think there's a lot of like noise around the exosome space. So you just have to be careful because these are expensive. But some sort of antioxidant, some sort of cellular renewal, some serum, I would say use in the morning would be helpful.
I was going to say, what exactly, because I've used vitamin C serum on and off over time, and it leads me to two questions for you. One, what does vitamin C actually do, or these antioxidants, what are they actually doing for our skin? But two, in the vitamin C area, there is hot debate over what kind of vitamin C and what will actually soak into your skin. So I'll give you both questions, but that's any information in that area would be great.
Yeah. So vitamin C is L-ascorbic acid. In general, they also make some other forms that are a little bit milder because sometimes it can be a little sticky on the skin. And also vitamin C is really finicky. That is why you see SkinCeuticals, what is it? CE Ferulic, it's like $200+ and they're in dark jars, right? But I mean, I think it's Vanacream makes a really gentle one. CeraVe makes some. So certainly don't need to spend. In fact, I wouldn't recommend spending $200 on a vitamin C, but they run the gamut, right? And vitamin C and really these antioxidants, they do exactly what they do when we eat them, with berries, which I also encourage, right? They help they pair really nicely with your sunscreen. They are going to help bind up these free radicals that form in our skin from being exposed to UV radiation, being exposed to pollution and things in our environment. And so we build up these like toxic free radicals, and the antioxidants are going to bind them and neutralize them. So that is really
that because it causes cancer?
They can. But
What I was going to say, what's the free radical going to do?
Oh, they can do anything from like causing cancer, and they can also just damage cells, break down collagen, break down elastin. So they just are destructive, right? And so that's why we want to bind them up so they can't do that. So I also like we're seeing, and I think we'll see more in the future too, more sort of like cellular reversal and cellular renewal, like this whole field of regenerative medicine. And that's where things like exosomes can play a role. Growth factors, I think there's still, you probably hear about those. I think there's still, we need some more research to be done. NAD, using NAD in products actually help reverse cellular damage and help our cells be healthier. So I think there's definitely, in the next couple of years, we're going to see a really big growth in this market of not just topicals that moisturize the skin, but actually penetrate down into our cells and help reverse damage there. And so that's what I love about these exosomes, that they actually are doing that. They're actually getting rid of what they call these senescent or zombie cells that are just hanging around, causing, they're like the Debbie Downer of the party. They're making the whole party a bust, right?
They're making bad cells and proliferating them.
That's right. You just got to get rid of them. So that's sort of like next level, but at a minimum, some sort of antioxidant serum. And again, do not feel like you have to spend hundreds of dollars on them. I truly actually find some of the drugstore over-the-counter ones really, really hydrating. But there is a little bit of like trial and error, just like with sunscreen. You've got to like the consistency on your skin,
the smell,
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And does it work with your other products? A lot of my girlfriends that we pass whatever, who tried the latest cream potion serum, we go, oh my God, must try. And then we all give each other, you have to try this. Now, what do you think of that? But one of the big beefs that I hear about is, I don't like that. I thought that felt great, but when I put my sunscreen on, it made it pill. So that can often be off-putting. And we have hot debates on, is that caused by the way that you're applying it or by the products themselves? We're not sure.
Yeah, it could be both, right? I find the more you layer, so again, I really don't think you should layer, and I think they've done some studies showing like after you've layered more than like 3 to 4 products, nothing else is getting in. So it doesn't matter the order. Go from thinnest to thickest. So in general, your serums, which for me tend to be my antioxidant serum or your vitamin C, put that on first. then do your moisturizer, and then follow up with your sunscreen. But it does, I've certainly had that happen too. If my skin's real dry and then I'm layering and then I needed more moisturizer, it can pill a little bit. So the wrong order, using too many products, and then sometimes, it's just like the consistency. If one is too thick and then the other, so there is a little bit of like playing around with it and seeing what works best. And sometimes if my skin's real peely, if I've been going hard on my retinol, my tretinoin, then I just need like a little extra moisturizer too, because my skin's just dry.
Just to get back. Actually, that's a great thing, because a lot of women who listen to the podcast are right in the hot middle or postmenopausal, and dry skin is a thing. I had T-zone when I was young, and I don't anymore.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I used to be like, I joke, I was so excited glass skin became popular because I felt like I was an oil slick. So greasy.
I was living the glass skin.
I was glass skinning before it was popular, but now I do notice, like, I actually will kind of reapply moisturizer throughout the day sometimes. So here's a little hack. If you want your skin to look immediately better, put moisturizer on. I mean, it's phenomenal. I mean, you can do your own like little tests, like maybe at the end of the day, if you've been, like kind of smile, take this skin gets real dry easily under your eyes. So, snap a selfie of your skin under your eyes at the end of your day, and then put a little moisturizer on it, and then snap another picture. I mean, immediately it's going to look better. And that's how a lot of these companies, unfortunately, they show like improvement clinically. It's just moisturizer. So, everyone's skin looks better moisturized. So, throughout the day, don't be afraid to, I keep, I've got some like moisturizer right here at my desk.
A little
just,
update.
Like, put a little moisturizer on, especially areas that tend to get dry. Makes a big difference. And I do want to talk about with your audience, estrogen cream. So have you been hearing?
Please talk about that.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan. I just want to tell women like how important it is. So again, I'm not giving medical advice. Talk to your own doctor. But I think it's a crime that we haven't been taught this earlier. But the importance of using vaginal estrogen cream, and how virtually every woman past probably my age should be on it. And you can and should be on it, even if you're on systemic therapy, right? Because it works locally on the skin. And I joke that the vulva is skin. And I feel like OBGYNs don't really want to talk about it. They've got, they've got enough to worry about with everything else. But dermatologists also don't really feel comfortable talking about the vulva skin.
Right.
And I feel like we've got all these women in limbo. They've got symptoms. It's kind of embarrassing to bring up, right? And potentially. And so, and people also think, well, if I'm not having sex, do I really need it? It's so important. It helps prevent UTIs. It helps with moisture, any itching, dryness, irritation, all of that. So what I tell people, because I'm getting asked a lot, should I be putting estrogen cream on my face? And the first thing is, we don't have a lot of studies. We've neglected women, especially in midlife, for centuries, right? So we need more data. So that'll be my first caveat, of course. But I feel very confident that if we are using it safely with the mucosal skin of the vulva and the vagina, that absorbs way more easily, that we certainly can use it safely on the skin of our face. And it can have estrogen receptors on our skin there. So what I'll tell people is, if you're using it for vulvar skin, which you probably should be, and talk to your GYN if you're not, you can take a little bit of that estradiol. If you're using it twice a week there, use it twice a week on your face, maybe your neck, tops of your hands. And that can be helpful. And if you don't really, so I don't really mind how it feels. I put it on before I go to bed. And so to me, it's like to me, it's like hydrating, not a problem.
It's super hydrating. And yes, I have put it on my neck and then later thought, is this like a problem?
No, absolutely not. And they also do make estriol creams that are geared towards the face. They tend to be more expensive, but a little more elegant. And so if you prefer that, and those can be used almost like daily, but they're not as strong. So you can.
I was going to say it's a lot less.
Yeah. But if you're, really, what I tell my patients is you should be using it for the vulvar skin. Look, I'll write you a prescription and then just dab a little of the estradiol twice a week on your face. And again, of course, yes, we do need more studies. We do need more than just studies by these, companies like Alloy and things like that. But we know we have estrogen receptors in the skin, and we know that when our estrogen levels are depleted, we know how important it is. And we know how important it is for the vulvar skin. And so to me, it just makes sense that our facial skin of our neck, chest, hands, could also use some love with estrogen as well.
That is fantastic. And I'm glad to hear somebody talking about that, because I'll back you up 100%. The estradiol is a game changer if you are not or have not been using it. And I have a number of friends who got caught in the rotating door of, we shouldn't use it because it will cause, all kinds of evils from that study. Early 2000s, not experiment, but the data that came out.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. And so they got caught in, they were told, no, we don't want to up your breast cancer risk. However, now that we realize so many different things about that data, now they're saying, no, you should have it. And even then, it can give tremendous relief to women who have not had it, even if you're over 55, over 60.
Absolutely. I could give my 103-year-old grandma this and be very confident. In fact, I should call and make sure she's using it, right? Yeah.
Well, especially I had a hysterectomy last year, and one of the things that I didn't have bladder related issues with that. But when I went in, some of the nurses and stuff that I was talking to, I was stunned at how important that estradiol is to help keep the region, not just your hoo-hoo, healthier with the estradiol cream. And that's not, unless you're right in there about that issue, that's not getting said to women. And we need to say that,
Yeah. It really, it's such a travesty that this isn't like shouted, because it's cheap, it's it's affordable, it's easy to get, it's generic, and it's virtually safe. Again, talk to your doctor.
Again, talk to your own doctor. Right.
For everyone to be on, for every woman to be on this, and yet, why is it a secret? Right? We have so much to undo from that early 2000 study, but I am excited that this whole sort of like new wave of midlife women are like, wait a minute, we're not taking this sitting down. We want help. We deserve quality of life. And I think people don't realize, like, UTIs are a huge cause of morbidity and mortality for women as they get older. But if you have estradiol, can truly prevent urinary tract infections and possibly getting septic. And
why wouldn't you? Yeah. That is so wonderful. Thank you. That is invaluable information. If you're listening to this, please talk, and you don't have any on board or know about it, talk to your doctor at least and get answers.
If you're getting pushback, or someone's telling you, oh, that's not safe for you, this and that, get a second opinion, because a lot of doctors, when I know for myself, when I trained in the early 2000s, like, this wasn't talked about. Like, the only reason I know this is because I have sought out, I have paid money to go and learn about this on my own time and with my own money, because I'm genuinely interested in midlife women's health. But just because if someone tells you no, they're just not up, it's not their fault, I suppose. Just they're just not up to date on the latest.
On what's the latest.
Yeah.
Something.
Don't stop there. Seek another opinion.
Get to real help. I mean, the thing the thing that hits me is that we are a generation of women who started out analog and learned to be in the digital age. We can figure out, the hormone cream situation, and we deserve to have access to the information and to the kind of support that it offers us. So if you're getting, I like what she's saying, if you're getting pushback, keep asking, because there are better options available here.
Yeah. Find someone who is up to date, who, ask your friends, ask around. But yeah, I mean, even as a dermatologist, like I'll prescribe it because vulva is skin, and I know how important it is to women's health.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that part. You said earlier to get off the hot girl hamster wheel. I love that so much. We need t-shirts and bumper stickers. Tell me about that.
Yeah, gosh, I feel like another shirt I want to make is like front will say like former hottie, now what? Because I feel like it's sort of a lot of us are like, I mean, I used to feel good and think I look good, but yeah,
just hang on.
It is hard. It is hard. We're being bombarded all the time with so much noise, and how the beauty industry is just like exploding. It's like, what recession, right? Like it is exploding. So it is hard. You have to really be intentional. And it's kind of like, I feel like decluttering your house, like and I have to do this too myself. Like I'm not immune to it. I would say the first step is like an audit. And I know that doesn't sound fun, and I am not a spreadsheet girl, but I mean, you need to, just like you sit down with your finances, because really this is kind of about finances too. It's like write out, maybe go through a month, or ideally you do like 3 months or 6 months, but like write out all, or even start with a week, right? Like write out all the beauty things you do, or, I say quote unquote self-care, but, really it's like, is it waxing? Is it getting your Botox? Is it getting your hair colored? Is it getting a massage? Is it getting a facial? Is it getting your nails, right? And write out what you're doing, and then write out how often, what is the frequency? Is this a once a year thing, or is this I'm in there every 2 weeks, right? How much time does it take, right? Like, is this a quick 10-minute kind of thing? Or, is it your red light mask that you do every day, but it takes 10 minutes and you do it while you're journaling and it's super therapeutic for you? And then write out the cost. Like, this is going to be really eye-opening for people, right? And then,
and by cost, are you talking cash or time, or what?
So
how are we gauging it?
You're already gonna write out how often you're doing it, and then you're also gonna write out
so there's your time.
Yeah. Okay. So, that Botox appointment maybe takes an hour. Maybe your hair appointment all in takes 3 hours, right? And then you're going to write out the cost financially, right? How much are you spending? And then probably calculate what is that annually, right? And actually go. And then I also say have a column for your enjoyment. Okay. Because life is about, look, I enjoy feeling good. I enjoy being pretty. I enjoy pretty things, right? But I'm not going to do everything. So I'm going to pick the things that matter to me. I love getting massages, and I really want one a month, one a month. I am not ready to go gray and and so I color my hair. And
just thinking that, yep.
That's not something I'm going to give up. But I've never had a facial in my life. I've never. And I don't get my nails done. And I used to get pedicures, and now I'm like, I don't even get those. Right. So you've got to figure out like how much these things are really costing you time and energy wise, and how much you really enjoy it or not. And I think
what's the ROI?
Exactly. And so go through those things that you're like, I'm just doing it, but I actually hate it. Cross those things off, right? Immediately. If it's a 5, I go through 1 through 5. 5's you love it. If it's a 5 and you can afford the time and the investment, then do it, right? But I think when you go through that, you'll be like, okay, you know what? I don't really enjoy doing that gua sha for 10 minutes, or I don't really enjoy doing whatever, but I love my infrared sauna, whatever it is, right? So pick the things you enjoy and you love, and then just get rid of all that other stuff. And I think you'll be shocked how much you're spending without realizing it, because that little $60 nails here and threading or waxing, like all those little things.
It adds up. Yeah.
They do. And if you're not loving it, why are you doing it? So that's sort of my first step.
Good counsel. That is good counsel. So you mentioned the red light. Do you like the red light therapy?
So
what do you think?
Yeah, I do like it. In dermatology, we've been using light as therapy for, decades. So we know the power of it. The thing is, there's a lot of gimmicks. So you need to make sure you're getting the right wavelength. Really, it's I think of blue for like acne. It's great for acne. Red is more anti-aging, and then infrared is more for like inflammation, things like that. So you gotta, again, pick the one that you need. So my children don't need the anti-aging one, but sometimes if they're struggling with acne, I'll let them use the blue light one.
Right. Right.
But so you have to make sure it's powered well. It's an FDA cleared device, that meaning they've actually done some studies with it, that it's the correct wavelength. And then you have to be consistent, right? And that is where I would say people say, what's the number one thing people get wrong? I would say they're not consistent, right? So it's like working out, right? You don't go to the gym for 2 sessions and wonder why, you don't have like...
You and Schwarzenegger aren't going head to head. Yeah.
Exactly. So you got to be consistent. So I do not personally use one because I just am not consistent with it. My sister, though, she's got a flexible mask she puts on, and she is like multitasking. She's like cleaning. She's
hardcore.
So she, and it's 3 minutes. Like, so she is committed to that. So if you're going to invest in these devices, then for the at-home ones, like you just have to be committed. But yeah, I love them, like especially in office after a treatment for acne, for kind of helping with healing. It is real science. It's not bogus. But a lot of the devices out there, again, also don't waste your money on something that looks like a little pin. you know, again, you want it to like cover the surface area you're trying to treat, and you just have to be consistent.
That's actually a great tip. And I was thinking back to what you were saying about, do an audit and look at all that you're investing in time, money, care, all of these things. And I was just thinking that at 60, there are things that when I was in my 40s and my early 50s, I thought, oh, I will just do this forever. But I have to tell you, the longer that you go along, the more you realize, you know what, this is a value, or I do not want to sit in that chair for 3 hours. I do, in full disclosure, I'm not. But I'm just saying, people realize, I have girlfriends who are thinking of transitioning to more gray because they're just tired of going to the hair salon anymore. Those are great, respectable reasons to make changes. And just because you decided it at 45 does not mean that you need to be stuck with it at 60. These are things, what I like what you're saying is by conducting a review and having the emphasis be on doing the occasional reviews, you give yourself space, permission, and the gumption to know that not everything needs to be forever. There are periods and seasons, and what works now may not work later.
Exactly. Yeah. And doing this kind of periodically, it's like, wait, what am I doing? And like, it's hard when you're a dermatologist, like people are always getting me, try this, do this, and then I'm like, oh, should I be doing that? Like it is tricky, and we're bombarded with stuff all the time. Right. And so a lot of it is just putting on blinders. You've got your routine down. You don't need to, it doesn't matter what your neighbor, your best friend's doing, and you just stick to your plan.
Head down.
Yeah. And I also have to say, I am loving the silver and the gray that I'm seeing women rocking too. So yeah, I mean, I'm like, what age am I going to be brave enough to say, yeah, I'm going to do that? So everyone.
Well, I'm hoping by the time you get closer to where you would really think about it, that we can reduce the brave thing, because you know what? Exactly. It's so beautiful. And I have like hair, if my natural hair color is about the color of a baby mouse. I always tell people I'm a natural blonde, but it looks, that ashy, terrible color no one wants. I have that with just a teeny bit of gray. So for me to try to go to gray, it would be non-impactful. But I have girlfriends who have a lot of gray and they're just terrified that they'll be old.
Yeah.
And
That
I
whole
hope
sense of
we can.
invisible. Yeah.
Yes, and back to invisible, you really hit a really important point on that, and I'm grateful that you phrased it that way. But the thing is, though, there's a place in this where we take control of how we want to look and how we show up in the world and what we think about what. And I think maybe there's something important about letting go of, and girl, the closer you get to menopause, the easier this gets. Stopping caring what everybody else thought about, well, freaking anything. I think post-menopause, you don't not care at all, but it's getting easier to say, but I think so and so, and I'm comfortable with my choice here, right? That I'm not gonna color my hair or do whatever I may have elected to do before. I'm wondering. I have to ask this question because I had somebody say to me, "Just ask." The Botox lip situation. I'm going to call it situation.
Yeah.
It appears to be getting better with time. Are we past the duck lip thing?
Oh my gosh. Oh yes. Well, I think the kids call it situationship. But so actually you're kind of, I think what you're talking about is the overfilled lips, right? Which is actually it's
overfilled anything, Dr. Mina.
Yes. Which is not from Botox. That is from filler, hyaluronic acid.
Fillers. Filler. I said Botox. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So hyaluronic acid filler, I still love them. And what I tell patients who get it's almost like a 4-letter word to bring that up. If I suggest filler, they're like, oh, no, don't say that. But I'm like, look, the reason you're scared of filler is because you've seen bad filler, but you don't notice good filler. Now, I am not saying everyone needs filler, but there are certain areas where filler looks beautiful. And it is, well, actually, I don't even use it there. I love it in, I do love it in lips. I do love it in lips. I have done my lips, and I naturally do not have super full lips. And so I would look very bizarre if I did a lot. But maybe once every couple of years, I add a little bit just to help maintain the structure of my lip, which we know we lose as well as with collagen. So again, people, usually when I tell someone that, they're like, oh, you have lip filler? I wouldn't have thought that. I'm like, exactly, because it's about using small amounts.
That's how it should be. Yes.
Very naturally. Yes. But yes, I still see the duck lips. It's a look for some people and they want that. But I do feel like we're moving towards, and a lot of celebrities are getting their filler dissolved. Like there's been way too much overdone cheeks, where the cheeks don't.
The little chipmunk cheeks. Yeah. No.
Exactly. But again, it can be done. It can be done well, but I am preferring to do things like biostimulants, which build your own collagen. And I find by doing that on a semi-regular basis, it kind of helps keep your collagen, and it does it in a very natural way where you don't have.
Is that an injection?
It is an injection. Yes. So biostimulants are kind of, I think we had them back decades ago, and then they sort of fell out of favor when the Restylane Juvederms are coming around, and then we've sort of overdone it with that. And so I'm now seeing a resurgence, and I think people also, they like the idea of building it seems more holistic, right? You're using your body to build its own collagen versus putting in, yes, hyaluronic acid is naturally in our skin, but it's more stiff. It's not quite as it can be overdone and look weird.
And nobody wants that.
Yeah. And but if you are overfilled, the nice thing about HA fillers is that you can dissolve them. So you don't have to stick.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that alone is interesting. So there's now options where
Yeah.
you can inject the I don't know to call it what a bio
A
stimulant.
biostimulant. Yep, exactly.
Okay, that will help your body produce more collagen. Is that what
E-
we're doing?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's actually these little particles called PLLA, and I mix it with water and then I inject it into the skin. And so immediately you're a little bit swollen from the water, but that
Mm-hmm.
goes down. And then I tell people you're going to, in a week, you're going to look the exact same. But over time, over about 3 months, you start to build your own collagen. So
That
I
is
call it
so
like collagen
interesting.
banking. So,
Mm-hmm.
and people say, "Oh, do you recommend collagen in your coffee and things like that?" It's like
Yeah,
maybe it works. It's definitely not going to hurt you, but I prefer doing things like the biostimulants where I know I'm going to get collagen
and you
in
know where you put
this
it. Yeah.
area because of where I put it. Yeah.
That's excellent. And that was actually something I was going to ask you is how do you feel about um well, two things. One is supplements of various stripes and or healthy diet. How's that impact skin?
Oh my gosh. Well, let's start with healthy diet because that is so important. Yeah, I think people think of our skin as just being our face, but really you should think of your skin. Everyone wants data now and want to continuously monitor stuff, but like our skin is like a vital sign. Our skin
Mm,
reflects our inner health. So I
mm,
don't, think about a night you partied too late or you had an all-nighter, or you were up all night with a newborn or working on a work project, right? Like you were sleep deprived. The next day you woke up, you probably didn't look good. Like even if you put your makeup on and all that, you didn't look good, right?
it
You
wasn't
were
good.
dehydrated. It didn't look good. And then probably you didn't feel good. And then you're going to eat
Mm-mm.
kind of crappy that day. And then you're not going to exercise, right? So all of these things matter. So I would say
Mm,
a couple of things is like sleep is so critical. And I think we're in this society, it's like go, go, go. Like I have a problem too. If I'm just sitting, I feel like I'm being unproductive, right? Like it's
mm-hmm.
always go. And I used to think, oh, sleep, it's like a sign of weakness. If you have to sleep for 8 hours, what a waste of
Mm-hmm.
time. It's so not true. So getting, I feel like I'm okay with 7 hours. But a sleep expert might tell me I'm wrong, but aiming for, 7 to 9 hours a night and just being consistent is so key. And then when
Mm-hmm.
you sleep well, you're going to eat better. And so diet is key. And I noticed I had been a pescatarian for about 28 years and I'd
Mm-hmm.
never craved chicken. And all of a sudden I'm like, I want a chicken sandwich. I want a turkey sandwich, so I could tell my body needed more
Mm-hmm.
protein. And so that's something in midlife to focus on is getting more protein, right? I think a lot of us I remember my mom, it was like the whole fat free craze of the 80s and 90s and no sugar, but then it was like fake sugar, so
Ugh.
all these like diets and fads and all that, but really, you know, don't, we can't starve ourselves, right? Like focusing on calorie cutting and restrictions and all that, your hair's going to fall out, your skin is not going to glow. So, eating an appropriate amount of calories and making sure it's packed with protein, fruits and veggies, especially berries for their antioxidants, fiber. This is so important as we get
Good
older
nuts.
too,
Yeah.
right? And not being afraid of fat. My goodness, like, it actually healthy fats help satiate you and your body needs that. So, think of your skin as like a vital sign and really focus on nourishing it, eating well. And this doesn't mean everything has to be organic and you have to pay an arm and a leg for everything, right? But trying to eat food, like your plate should look like real food. It shouldn't always come out of
Yes.
a plastic bag, right? Like that's sort of a test.
Yeah.
Like if everything I'm eating comes out of a plastic bag, and again, I am not a dietitian or anything like that, but in general, it's thought that kind of focusing more on like a Mediterranean diet can be really
Mm-hmm.
good for your skin.
Yep.
And I think, yeah, not, I think as women too, I know I went through phases too of like focusing on the calories that I ate. and how that is just like not what we need to be doing at this phase of
Yeah,
our
we need
life.
to be healthy. Yeah, if you're healthy first, the rest of it's going to follow.
Yeah.
No, and I, as I'm listening to you, I'm just really remembering again that skin is built by you're fueling it by what you eat.
Yes.
And that's why it's an external reflection that your largest organ of the body, right, is going to be reflective of how healthy what you're feeding it is.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and I would assume to make sure that you're drinking water appropriately.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Water. And a lot of studies are showing like really, I enjoy a glass of wine. I enjoy socially drinking, but I am more cognizant now, that and also I don't really crave it like I used to, I feel like, but that, the amount of alcohol we drink, I think people used to think, oh, one glass for a woman, two for a man a day is probably fine. But now we're realizing like, actually it's probably not, as healthy as we thought or wanted it to be. But again, I'm all about like enjoying life. And so for me, I love having a glass of wine when I'm out to dinner with friends or my husband. And I want, to me, I enjoy that. So that's an enjoyment that but I just think about it more, and I try to see things more in moderation. So yeah, like focusing on, also, in my house, it's like water or nothing because so much of these, like, even you think they're healthy drinks are just loaded with sugar. And actually, that's one point I want to make for
weird chemicals.
For skin health in particular, eating a lot of processed sugar is really detrimental to our collagen. I used to think, oh, well, I'm not eating a lot of like junk food and all that, I should be good. But actually it's really interesting. If you just spend a day or two writing down how much sugar you're eating, I think you really should have between like 25 grams a day. And some of these like Starbucks drinks are like 100. It's insane. It's insane.
Oh,
but actually,
yeah.
That sugar, eating a lot of that refined sugar, will bind to your collagen, and it forms these things called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. It's going to bind to your collagen. It's going to make it stiff and brittle and break apart. So it's going to accelerate aging. And so yet another reason to monitor how much sugar, and I'm not talking sugar and fruit. Okay. I'm talking like candy bars,
right,
and
complex sugar
added into diet things or whatever, low fat things to make them taste better, right? All that added sugar can be really detrimental. So if really you do nothing else for your diet, just maybe track your sugar and be aware of that.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I love this, and I love what a balanced way that you have encouraged us to think about skin and about, what do you want to do with your skin at this age and how do you want to look, and don't get caught up in, the old school perceptions. We live in an era now where you have more autonomy than you ever have before as a woman to be able to rewrite the script for what healthy and beautiful mean today. Right. And in the mid age, I think that's fantastic. Is there anything else that you want us to know before we let you go?
I would say, I talk a lot about my Real Skin framework on my podcast and things like that. I have an app that you can download called The Skin Real, and I have to spell real, maybe not for your audience, but for the Gen Alphas and Gen Z, it's REAL, like real skin. But I created this.
Okay.
Yeah, I created
Skin
a
Real
fun quiz, and it's by no means meant to make you feel bad. It's not going to give you an age of your skin, but I find, again, we like data. And so you can go to realskin.lovable.app, APP, and you can do this quick little scan with your phone, and then it's going to break down, using my Real Skin framework, things you should be focusing on based on your images, using that Yeah, so
That's
it's fun.
awesome.
It's not meant to make you feel bad about yourself by any means. Do it in good lighting. That's my tip. Don't do it in the dark.
Okay.
Just a fun way to
love
kind of
that.
get, a assessment of your skin based on kind of my framework that I use when I'm seeing my patients.
Yeah. Yeah. And tell me your website or how we can contact you if we have interest and we want to learn more.
It's theskinreel.com or the app, and you can you can listen to my podcast, you can read blogs, all that contact information is all there, as well as some, little like freebies, PDFs, things like that.
Perfect. And you're on Instagram as well?
I'm on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all of it, at Dr. Mina Skin.
Lovely. This is really fun. I know that a lot of the women on the podcast, that's what they like to do, is find somebody, follow them, and then, be able to learn more and
nowadays,
more.
Thankfully, there are people, you don't have to be in Atlanta, right? You can still get good information remote.
Yeah. And you can learn about it. I love that. I find myself so glad that you are out supporting real women looking healthy and gorgeous and right where they need to look for how they want to be right now. I'm rooting for you, Dr. Mina. Keep doing it, girl.
Tami, you're like a trailblazer. Yeah. Just redefining what midlife means as a woman.
Yeah, because we need it. We need new maps. The ones that we were handed, they suck.
They did.
To use technical language, they stink. So yeah, let's be honest. So let's ditch that. Well, thank you so much today for joining us and for helping all of us think more about our skin. I mean, it's a big deal. It's all over you. And it's good to think about it and be mindful, whatever your choices are.
I'm so grateful you listened to this episode. I hope it was a real value to you. If there's a sister in your life who needs this message, please share it, just like women have done to lift each other up over the centuries and across cultures. Women lifting each other is so important. It's why I do this work. And to avoid FOMO and keep up leveling your own life, make sure you don't miss the next episode. You may be losing hormones, but your life has given you powerful perspective. And I believe you have something to give that no one else does, that the world needs. So remember, I'm rooting for you. Let's go.